Well, according to Police Minister Bheki Cele, South Africa's official crime statistics for January to March of 2022 indicate that the country's safety is at an all-time low. At a briefing on Friday, Cele said that the first 3 months of the year had been marked by more murders, sexual violence and assaults than the same period in 2021. The Independent Policing Union of South Africa says that the police department is failing to protect the lives and properties of South Africans. Joining us to unpack this further is the union's president, Bethuel Nkuna. Bethuel, thank you so much for your time and thank you for joining us. A violent and a brutal start to the year. That's what the police minister had to say when he was noting the fact that across a number of these crimes, we have seen some notable increases. As the union, I mean, what is your response to this? I mean, where exactly are we going wrong as a country?
Thank you very much for welcoming us and good morning to the viewers. The fourth quarterly report paints the country at war with itself. It shows that we as a country, we are failing to win the war against crime. And these statistics, they've been on an increase. Every quarterly report shows an increase from the previous ones, which points to the fact that the police, are overwhelmed and overstretched in terms of winning the war against crime, especially crime against women and children. There's been an escalating increase in terms of that. The killings of children and women, they are on the rise. That paints a picture that we are not winning at all against crime.
Now, I want to come back to the rise and the particular safety issues around our most vulnerable groups, and that is, of course, women and children. And I want to just circle in on what you mentioned there. Police are overstretched and overburdened. I know that the South African police-to-population ratio currently is 1 police officer to every 420 people. That's almost double what the United Nations has put out as the standard police-to-population ratio. Is it purely because you are undercapacitated as the police service, and because of that there is such a lack of police visibility?
Yeah, you are very correct when we speak about the police versus population ratio. But we as the Independent Policing Union, we urge the National Commissioner to really look inside our own structures, to do an internal audit. The internal audit that will show him exactly how many fully trained police officers that we have. We are mentioning this because of we have so many trained police officers who are occupying offices, working in support services, doing HR, doing finance, doing supply chain, and etc. At national, at provincial, and district levels. But if an internal audit can be done, that will paint a picture of exactly how many trained police officers that are needed. Because we need more boots on the ground. Because currently, we do have more than 50,000 police officers that are occupying offices. And this can be attributed to the fact that there are so many lateral appointments that are put in strategic positions through people who are not fully trained, but they are being put in strategic positions that have to make decisions for the operational services in the SAPS, and that itself makes SAPS to be dysfunctional, because SAPS needs to know exactly how many police officers for them to put more boots on the ground. But currently it cannot happen, because if you put someone who is not fully trained as a police officer, someone who was taken as a lateral appointment into a strategic position, that itself cannot work. So this is what is causing us, as much as we are overstretched and overwhelmed, but if an internal audit can be done, we will be able to see more boots on the ground within what we have currently.
Okay. So you've highlighted the issue of recruitments and how that could potentially be failing the police service and have called for this audit. Now, the police minister did also highlight the fact that about 100 million rand is set to be set aside to help capacitate the police service. How do you think that money, those funds rather, should actually be spent in terms of really tackling some of the issues that are affecting the police service and are not in any way aiding it in its ability to ensure that the country is safe?
Yeah, that we appreciate the fact that there are efforts from the executive authorities to resolve this. Yet we still believe that there should be environmental designs and analysis that should be done in terms of, as we spoke earlier about the population versus police ratio, that each and every district, we need to have an audit of that particular district. How many people do we have? How many squatter camps do we have? So, the mushrooming squatter camps are also contributing to the overwhelming jobs that the police are facing. But if we can empower our district commanders, the commanders that are closer to the locals, we will have a clear indication of this particular district has so much people, so much in terms of how many people that the police need to serve. And when we have that, now we can determine the physical, the human and the physical resources needed to serve that particular community. Because we can recruit, but after those people are recruited, but they will be scattered around where they are not needed. So if we now know that each and every district, from every provincial and regional, district commanders can know that in terms of my district, we need so much, so that they can determine the human and the physical resources that are needed. And then they should also be empowered to also to maintain and retain such resources.
Right.
Because currently the way...
Sorry, please do continue, Bethuel. With your
yes,
line
because
of thought.
currently the way things are happening, you find police stations whereby community phones complain about whatever that is troubling them in terms of all the violence that have been mentioned that are at an alarming rate. The response will be, no, we do not have vehicles. So it means something within SAPS, despite all the external issues that are happening, but something within SAPS is very wrong. Currently, the replacement funding model of vehicles is not functioning. SAPS has a 12-year plan in terms of replacing vehicles when the vehicles have to go for mechanical reasons. The vehicles for SAPS stay so long at garages. Vehicles of SAPS are being outsourced. And when such things happen, SAPS have to wait for the next financial year to replace such vehicles. So the replacement funding model needs to be changed so that we react to whatever that happens immediately, because our communities deserve better.
Right. Bethuel, I need to ask you this because you did mention, of course, the indictment on our society and, of course, also the police service, the fact that we are seeing rising crime levels, particularly affecting women and children. These are vulnerable groups. Now, in response to this, as a strategy, government wants to establish dedicated units that will tackle these kinds of contact crimes, your sexual offences, rape, etc. But this is also a call that's been made by other policing unions to say that we need dedicated unions that will actually tackle these crimes, and then, only then, will we actually see real progress. I mean, as the Independent Policing Union of South Africa, are you in agreement? Do you think that this is a viable strategy, that we do need more dedicated units?
Yeah, it is very true. We need more dedicated units that are going to really tackle these issues, especially the attacks against vulnerable our society in terms of women and children. And this also can be achieved by also strengthening the community ties amongst ourselves as the police and the communities. Because at the moment, there is a distance between ourselves and our communities. There is us and them, but we need communities and society at large to be also in assist in terms of fighting this pandemic that is attacking our women and children. Community police forums must be strengthened, so that because all these are happening amongst the communities, criminals lives amongst the communities.